Hi everyone. Sorry we started a little bit late. Um, Welcome to the fifth webinar in the Careering Ahead series. For those that haven't been here before, it covers a range of topics all around the legal ops career, a bit more rounded than merely technology. Some of the ones that we've had before are around career milestones, when to be in, when to jump into consultancy or skills. And this one is a lot more around personal brand, and is it important to have a digital presence as a legal ops professional? This one, or hopefully, just before I start, hopefully people can hear me. Give me a thumbs up if you can. Okay, thanks, Lou. Um, so I'm pleased to have Laura, Rebecca, and Marco here today, and they will introduce themselves in a sec. But personal brand and marketing is one of my favorite topics to talk about or moderate, from back in the day when I had to use digital marketing in various forms, either to start off the legal technologist and try and connect with people within Bristol or the southwest of the UK, or to work within a firm and launch a brand or a service internally. So I enjoy talking about it. Maybe that will come off when I go through and ask my questions. But without further ado, I will pass the mic over to the panel to introduce themselves. So maybe if I start with Laura, and what do you currently do, and what do you enjoy about it?
Oh, thanks, Mark. Afternoon or good morning, depending on when you're catching up on this, everyone. My name is Laura Marinello. I'm a legal operations specialist in the Bristol office of Simmons and Simmons. So my team focus on making our internal teams more efficient, more accurate, more cost effective, and hopefully happier as well. Alongside that, I'm also the chair of our Balance for Aurora committee, which looks at DEI well-being in pro bono. And I think what I really enjoy about both of those roles and many of my past roles as well is just being able to help people. So whether that's making them more effective in their roles, making them more comfortable in the workplace, building community, promoting well-being and efficiency. I'm very much a firm believer of if something takes 12 steps, let's do it in 6. Why are we doing it in 12? So that's me. Thanks.
Makes sense. Rebecca?
Hi. Hi everyone, and thanks for having me here. I'm a knowledge engineer in our knowledge management team here at Heuking. I'm sitting in Frankfurt, and I'm in charge of the document management, first the pilot program, and now we've rolled it out for the whole firm. And the long and short of it is I work together with the practice groups and other business services groups here to automate documents so that we can generate our documents faster, more efficiently, and with fewer mistakes.
Excellent. And I know what you use.
Yeah.
It's
great.
And Marco.
Hey, Mark. Hello, everyone. I'm Marco Mendola, and I'm a legal technologist at TLT, LLP here in the UK. I'm based in Bristol, like Laura and Mark. What I do on a day-to-day? Good question. I can tell you what I like to do on a day-to-day, at least. Building relationships internally with other teams, departments, and externally with clients. Starting to identifying problems with their day-to-day work, legal and not, and trying to understand what's the process afterwards, and then in case if technology is needed. This is what I like to do. Yeah, in a nutshell.
Thanks, Marco. I'm sure we'll come back to what's on your t-shirt at the end as well.
By all means.
So I think for people that have seen these webinars before, I tend to start fairly broad, and then taper down to specifics later. So the first question to the panel is, do you think personal brand is important in the legal ops space? So maybe if I start with Rebecca.
Yeah. I think if you took a really conservative view of it and you had safe, secure, foolproof ways of communicating with your people internally, and they're the only people you want to speak to, then you don't need to have a digital presence. But I think if you want to talk to anyone outside of your organisation, or even if you want different ways to talk to people within your organisation, I think it is really important. And it's especially important, I think, in this moment in time where the technology is changing so rapidly, the market is shifting, and our roles are changing. I think in that context, it is really important to have a digital presence.
I think I agree with that. Okay, I'm kind of getting involved with the panel, but from back in the day when I started the Legal Technologist, one of the key reasons that I started it was to try and instill a fear of missing out for the lawyers that I was working with at the time. So yeah, that totally makes sense to do it, to have it like that. Laura?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think it is important because a personal brand helps show what you stand for. I think particularly in the legal ops space, a lot of what we do is really collaborative. So it's coming alongside people, discussing what their pain points and issues are, and trying to coach them through to some kind of solution. So we're coming in and we're trying to actually change things. And if people don't know who you are, why you're there, what you stand for, why you want to help them change, they're not really going to listen, and they're not really going to benefit from legal ops as well. So I think it's very much about sort of a personal brand, not necessarily in legal ops as a whole, but personal brand of who you are and how you help. Because if you're not credible and authentic, then you can suggest a really great solution to whatever it is you're looking at, and it's probably not going to go very far. So I think, yeah, coming alongside people is really important, and it's good that they know who you are when you come alongside them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, trust is definitely key.
Mm-hmm.
And Marco?
I always like to disagree, but not in this case. It's important indeed. I think what what's important to remember is that everyone is different. So everyone has different level of comfort in how much or what to share about their own personal brand or brand in general. Which I think it's just a jargon to say communicate as yourself. So let's just be yourself, right? There are many ways of being yourself. There's nothing right or wrong apart from, okay, just don't be a terrible human being. But apart from that, everything is good. So I strongly recommend anyone starting in the middle or at the end of their career. There's no right or wrong moment to start. Put yourself out there, find your own tone of voice, share or not share up to where you're comfortable with, and make sure you connect with the people, not just that you like, but also that the people are different than you, so you can grow and improve your ways of being and also your professional self.
That makes sense. I suppose if we then move a little bit towards something a little bit more specific, and we take a look at who you're talking to. So I suppose having a digital presence means that you are communicating to a mass of people in some form. Who is the audience in this case, or who could the audience be? So maybe I start with Laura.
Yeah, sure. I think it's really important to know who your audience is, because that helps you then tailor the way that you're communicating with them. So for me, all of my stakeholders are internal Simmons and Simmons colleagues. So for me, I can communicate with them in a way that makes sense, use jargon and terminology and references that they get from working at Simmons for however long. If you're thinking about external contacts, so clients, vendors, or collaboration in the legal ops space, you might have to change things slightly for confidentiality reasons, or just knowing their point of reference as well. But I think as well with legal ops, when you finally do get to the end of a project or the end of something you're working on, communicating the value you've added, you might want to think about the different way that you communicate that to different people. So for example, you're talking to a manager, someone who looks at the bottom line, efficiency gains, money saved, things like that. If you're chatting to HR, you can say, well, the well-being is improved in this team by these changes we've implemented. So it's very much kind of demonstrating that knowledge and appreciation for the experts that you're speaking to. So when you're coming alongside someone to help them in their workload, they are the experts, they know what they're doing, they are the lawyers, the secretaries, the whomever. You're not there to presume you know who they are and what they need. You're there to listen and then feedback appropriately. So I think if you don't understand your audience, you're probably not going to be able to actually add much value. So absolutely essential, in my opinion.
For sure. And Rebekah, I know that you also promote what you do online on LinkedIn. I'd say you're a Canva professional. So who's the audience for you?
For me, I am seeking visibility not only from internal people, but for me, the primary driver why I'm on LinkedIn is I really wanted to make contact with other legal ops professionals, because I'm so curious about how everybody else works and how they're dealing with problems in other firms. Because especially when I first joined, I was the only member of the team and the only person in the firm who was working full time on this project, and I just needed other people's input, and I was just super curious about what everybody else was doing. So for me, it was a place to come to learn more about what everybody else is doing, and especially to make contact with more experienced automators.
It's probably a little bit of a curveball, sorry, but would you say that there's a few different ways of presenting yourself digitally in that way? I suppose in that way you're presenting yourself to connect. So do you putting out content that means that you show that you're an expert, or do you show ask questions that kind of instill some debate or discussion in order to network?
Well, what I'm trying to do, I'm not sure if it is always successful, is often I try and present in an entertaining or engaging way things from my daily work. So experience that I've had in my daily work or problems that I'm currently dealing with, and try and kind of package them up in a way that obviously doesn't point the finger at anyone or, reveal any information I shouldn't, but try and start a conversation about how people would engage with this issue or how they've dealt with it in the past. And I've always had really interesting comments from other people, and I've always learned a lot and always had a different had a different perspective afterwards, having shared on LinkedIn.
That's really good. I think we'll come back to the pros and cons in a little bit, but I just wanted to dive into that for a second. And Marco, you've got, I suppose, various audiences that you're putting your digital presence out there. I suppose over time you've also had things like the law of tech, and you've presented that to others as well. So who would you say was your audience, or the types of people in your audience?
Yes, I think Marc, it's a journey because it has changed a lot through time. So at least sharing my experience, initially my audience was mostly, at least when I started to engage a bit more a few years ago, was mostly around just tech, because being a lawyer by background, I just wanted to engage with the tech people only. Then progressively, I understood that there were different shapes and shades. So then strongly went through the legal design bubble and community, which was very important and still very important to me. Naturally went into the legal tech more as a sector, as an industry. And then I would say these three sections more from a professional side of things. From a personal one instead, just following a lot around storytelling, or just pure design, or just pure gaming as well. So something that, to wrap it up, I think we don't need to separate and create boundaries between our professional and personal selves, because it's kind of lying to our own selves. So we can't be two different people. Of course, you can be professional in the workplace, and you can be party animal with your friends. That's absolutely fine. But somehow you can't lie to yourself by, not trying to combine or mix your audiences. So It's a bit of a squiggly response, but in a nutshell, I think it's all about a journey. So you start from the people you want to reach out to, and then in time, you will see that your professional and personal selves often aligns. If not, ask yourself why.
Mhm. That makes sense. I think we'll
It's-
come back to that in a sec when we come to the dangers. And
Can I add something to that, Mark? Is that all
Go for it,
right?
go for it. Yeah.
It's interesting you mentioned the word squiggly, because anyone that knows me knows I love the book The Squiggly Career, and I've done kind of presentations on this before. And I think one phrase that really stood out to me in that was that networking, so kind of dealing with audiences like we're talking about now, they phrase it as people helping people. So it's not kind of just you standing there on on your pillar shouting about things. It's about building conversations and building relationships. And it's about asking questions of other people as well as them asking it of you. So if networking and having an audience and having a personal brand sounds really like intimidating, it's just having a conversation and like making friends and building relationships. So that might seem a little bit less intimidating than maybe the big words of audience and platform might sound.
Yeah.
That's really well
I think
put.
even networking as well.
Even
Just
networking has a bit of a
conversations.
scary, idea.
Sorry, Rebecca. Go for it.
Oh no, I was just completely agreeing. I think Laura expressed that really perfectly.
Okay, so if we then move on again to the pros and the cons to having a digital presence, I suppose what are the opportunities and dangers? I think we covered some of them at a kind of cursory level, the kind of knowledge gathering or networking and things like that. But if we kind of add a bit more meat on the bone, I suppose, what are the opportunities and dangers? So maybe if I start with Rebecca.
Oh, well, I think one of the biggest opportunities is learning about like new ideas and new tools, especially, so much is happening in the AI space right now, learning about, how people are implementing new tools and working differently. I especially enjoy seeing what people post from conferences. I don't often get an opportunity to go to conferences and meet people in person. So for me, it's a really important way to keep on top of kind of who's where and what's happening. But the knowledge sharing thing is a big one for me.
That's good. I'm glad you love that, Lou. You're particularly good at summarizing conferences. Marco next.
Mark, can I ask you, please, if you can please rephrase the question for me, because I just got
Okay,
lost.
okay. So this one's about the pros and cons of having a digital presence. So what are the opportunities and what are the dangers?
Okay. Okay. Let's start from the opportunities.
I think you already said one of the dangers was about having a personal brand, but then splitting yourself across different audiences and maybe not seeing people not seeing you as maybe genuine if you're a different person for different people, right? So I guess maybe if you start with that first and then go back to opportunities.
Yes, of course. So, okay. No. I think that no. I think I get your point, but I struggle to identify that as a problem. That's why. So, okay. So let me say. So I divide let me answer this in two ways. So there's a standard traditional approach somehow. Nobody knows who said it, but it's kind of like in the air where you should just focus on one thing only or two, because otherwise you're not perceived as a serious professional or whatever. Then I think there's a second part, there's a second kind of, I don't know, stream, which says you can definitely be many things. You don't need to be a super hyper specialist in one thing. And frankly, if we are, at least the people that I'm guessing, okay, but I think probably most of the people that are here, most of us are generalists or somehow people that like to do a few different things together. Otherwise, we wouldn't combine legal, operations, tech, marketing, and so on. So Uh, my kind of response on this is go back to being yourself in what you like. So the best way, I think, to shift the conversation from consider yourself or appoint yourself as an expert and telling others what you say or think is more like embrace this as a conversation where you're saying, this is what I've learned so far. This is what I want to learn tomorrow. What have you learned? Share it with me. And this is the best way and safest also way just to avoid kind of those nightmare situations where, you know, some appointed experts come back to you and say, oh, you're wrong. Oh, finally, I'm wrong. Please tell me why. So that's indeed, I think, how I will shift the problems and drawbacks of the multiple interest approach. And then in terms of opportunities instead, again, it's I use a French expression, just checking your own BS. So in other words, you just make sure that you don't stay close in your bubble with the usual 3-4 colleagues you see every day. Maybe you love them to bits, it's absolutely fine, but it's still the same 3-4 people, right? So thankfully, the digital environment allows you to see what's happening around you, check your things with what's happening with others, and trying to balance your own tendencies in case you see that you're going into a rabbit hole of something and the rest of the world is thinking about the exact opposite. So I think it's a good check.
That makes sense. I think what you said about the dangers, I think goes back to what Laura was saying about trust at the beginning, and the need to be genuine and come across genuine and credible and trustworthy when it comes down to it. And Laura, your pros and cons.
So I agree with what Marco was saying about sort of getting out of that echo chamber. That's really good. So kind of getting other opinions, getting other experiences, getting challenged. Okay, on the internet, sometimes that can be terrible, but I think the legal ops space is quite friendly. I haven't seen many fights in the comments, thankfully. But it is good to sort of challenge your ways of thinking and kind of get different perspectives and experiences. For me, being intentionally more active on LinkedIn and in sort of internal communication channels has attracted a lot of opportunities. So the role that I'm in now, speaking opportunities like this, getting to do more with DEI in the firm has all been because I've kind of been quite vocal about being interested or passionate or sort of supportive of something, and opportunities have sort of come to me, which is great. I think as well, so on the kind of the flip side, it does take a bit of effort. It does take a little bit if you really want to sort of position yourself in a particular sort of area of expertise or a particular area of interest. It does take a little bit of effort, and it can feel a bit cringy at first, being like, hey guys, look at this stuff that I'm doing. And I think, particularly, not to generalize, but in British culture, we're not great about saying nice things about ourselves. Thankfully, I'm an American, so we've got over that hurdle somewhat. And then I do think as well, it's hard to kind of know the balance between sort of showing up and being present and being consistent versus kind of being too in people's face. And I think it's also knowing the wisdom of sort of what trends and what themes to jump on and what not to. If I see another post about the Coldplay Kiss Cam, I might cry. Like everyone has something to say about that, and I'm like, within a day that trend should have died. That's maybe a personal thing of mine. People may not feel so strongly about that, but it's sort of knowing, kind of. Again, it comes back to what we were saying about authenticity and kind of thinking about ourselves. I wouldn't post anything about that because that has nothing to do with the types of things I talk about. But yeah, just kind of knowing where to fit and kind of where to step forward and where to step back. So it takes a bit of practice, I think, is maybe not the con, but sort of the challenge you might face if you're kind of trying to establish your own voice and make sure that it's your voice and not just a copy of someone else's as well.
And just off from what Laura was saying, I think one of the big barriers for people is they're worried about accidentally doing some reputational damage, and also maybe receiving some criticism. And my experience so far, especially in the legal tech bubble, is everyone is so nice and so welcoming. And I have made a couple of mistakes. And when I first posted, I used to heavily use emojis because I thought it was like more interesting and engaging. And someone very respectfully and very quietly sent me a message saying, Rebekah, could you please back off the emojis? It's like an accessibility issue. And I was really grateful for this person who wrote to me and let me know. And I have since backed off the emojis. But, you know, it is possible to make mistakes without knowing, and no one's going to yell at you. It'll be fine.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. I think people, I think when you have to be authentic and genuine, I suppose in a way you have to provide a bit of yourself into what you put out there, right? So whether it's an opinion or your knowledge in presenting yourself as an expert, or even what you put out in terms of content. So I guess there's that barrier to kind of overcome that obviously people do, because it's filled with stuff. But I suppose that my curveball question is, how should people cross that barrier? So let's say that you want to have a digital presence, you have knowledge that you want to share. You want to share it so that you can network with others, but you're at a stumbling block in that you may be worried about how it's received, or kind of something along those lines. How should people bridge that gap and get their stuff out there, get their knowledge out there?
Yeah,
So
I think it's
maybe
yeah.
Go on, Laura.
So I think it's a really good question. And I think part of it is just don't be too hard on yourself. Like, some things you post are going to flop and get two people to look at it. Some things may take off for some unknown reasons. And I think it's sort of like, unless you really want to be an influencer, like, don't go out with the intention of going viral. It's just about starting a conversation. And it doesn't have to be that you've drafted some beautiful article or beautiful post. Just start engaging and commenting on other people's content as well. So again, to be the fangirl, Squiggly Career talks about sort of different roles that people have in networking, and whether it's you're kind of consuming content, you're contributing to content, you're connecting people together, or you're creating. You don't have to go straight to creator. You can kind of start small and in kind of more controlled and less maybe scary environments. And then if you really want to kind of start putting your voice out there, make a plan, draft some stuff, and then kind of release it slowly and see what the reaction is and tailor it from that. So yeah, don't be too hard on yourself. Engage in small ways, and then make a plan if you do want to take a next step up, would be my advice.
And like, just going back to what you said before, it ultimately does open doors eventually.
Yeah.
Because you kind of put yourself out there and things naturally come back. Maybe Marco next. How should people bridge the gap?
Yes, I think a good way is just to trick our own selves with like a strategy where, rather than over planning or over worrying, treating the social media or digital presence more like a self-journaling. How can I say? So you're just literally stepping back from any evaluation, judgment, taking positions, because maybe that takes a bit more confidence, or you need to be not just confidence about others, but confidence about your own voice and self. So if you don't feel comfortable up to that level immediately, you can treat, I think a good way to trick ourselves is like a journaling. So not daily maybe, but I don't know, a weekly sum up of things that happen during your week that were like meaningful, or something that you have learned that you want to share, or you have genuine questions about, okay, I've done this task this way, how are you doing it? Or something that frustrates you. Why not? Because we cannot always be positive and smiling. So you share a frustration, but always in a constructive way, to ask, what have you done? Or what am I doing wrong? So that's, I think, a good way, treating it as a professional, personal journaling, of course, again, up to where you want to share and discuss.
Yeah, it's funny you say that, because I've always thought that there needs to be like a secret legal technologist, in the same way there's a secret barrister, right? With a kind of self-journaling, but in secret form. Just for fun.
That's an experiment I would love to do one day, but no spoilers.
And Rebekah, how should they take the first step?
Well, I think everyone's already received a lot of great advice from Laura and Marco. Two specific things I'd say is maybe think about what you feel comfortable doing. So I'm not very good with selfies. So all of my content I make on Canva, and it's a way that I can engage with everybody in a way that I'm comfortable with. And the other thing I'd suggest, if you really are nervous about posting things, is I always schedule my posts. So that can give you some time. You can, especially most of the things I post about aren't time critical. It doesn't matter whether I post it today or tomorrow. Schedule it for tomorrow, and you can think about it. Think about how nervous you really are, and then you always know. Then you can come back to it and you can make some changes. And I think, especially in the beginning, that can really help you deal with some nerves about putting things out there.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I think people shouldn't worry about engagement either, not in terms of likes, because for every maybe a couple of likes, there will be probably a couple of hundred people that would have seen the post and read it in some form. And I think even for me, when I put stuff out, I see things don't go well. Things do go well, but then ultimately I find in, I don't know, a couple of months' time, somebody that I meet in person treats it as like almost a conversation starter, right? So people do read, even though maybe they don't engage at the time. And I think that goes towards the point about networking and connecting with others. I suppose you're putting stuff out there, and it does come back to you sometimes in person. I think it's probably worth having a question about the people that do well at the moment. So who do you personally consider does a really good job at having a digital presence in the legal ops space? Maybe I start with Marco this time.
Oh, I was thinking about it.
It's all right. It's all right. I can come back. I can come back. So,
No, yes, come back, please. Give me
Okay.
another couple of.
I have an answer if you'd like me to start.
Yeah, go for it.
I love to fangirl about Catherine Bamford. She's like the queen of
Okay.
document automation. And I think she does a really good job because it's always a nice mix of personal, professional, so it's really authentic, but also, and she has so many followers. The comment sections on all of her posts are always really, really interesting. And she posts a really nice mix of kind of daily work and automation issues, but also about new tools and different things that she's doing. So I think she's a good follow.
Laura?
Yeah, so I've got two examples, one in legal tech and ops and one outside actually. So anyone who's been in any legal tech or operations events in Bristol will know Jay Smith. And like his love for legal tech is so clear. If you're everything he does, everything he writes, you meet him in person, he's exactly the same. Just really energetic, really excited to see like what's coming next, what weird tool can he get his hands on to play with to make things better. He's really passionate, he's authentic, and like I sort of following him on LinkedIn and then met him at an event, was kind of like, oh, I feel like I'm going to talk to a celebrity, but he's really normal, he's really approachable. Like I told him I was going to be name dropping him on this today. So hi Jay, if you're watching this. But he's just really great, and it's again that authenticity and that passion is really, really clear. Another example, not in the legal ops space, someone who's really stood out to me is a guy called Ian Dinwiddie. And he's a huge advocate for dads in the workplace. I am not a parent. I am not a man. I am very much not his demographic, but I love his content because it's really clear, it's really informative, it's really obvious like what he's passionate about and who he's trying to communicate to. And I just find it really informative and interesting. So even if you're not target audience, might actually be finding you quite fascinating as well. Because I have no children, not a man, but his stuff is really great as well. So I would recommend him if you're interested in parental leave in the UK.
Sounds good. Marco?
I have one. My favorite is Manu Kanwar.
Yeah.
I will share. Well, in this case, is a dear friend, but I'm not making him any favor because I'm very strict. But he's funny. He's very experienced. He shares a good combination of positivity, personal struggles when they happen, and professional wisdom after many years in house and now a few years as a legal ops and tech founder. Strong message around well-being and why tech makes sense only if you have a good bunch of people running the project. So yes, I strongly recommend Manu. And FYI, Manu is also our host and presenter at Legal Tech in the Southwest in Bristol. That's why I'm wearing this t-shirt. So if you want to meet Manu, he's going to be there.
Nice plug. I was just thinking as you were going through that, and before we go into, I suppose, the tips for people that you'd want to share. I suppose you've all been posting for quite a while. You've all had a digital presence for quite a while. Like, how has the journey changed over time? I suppose since maybe post number one or the first thing that you put out. Has it? Have you had to adapt to audience needs? I suppose you said, Rebekah, there that the emojis for accessibility was one of them. But have you had to adapt to feedback, or is it the case that you've just tracked what's happening in the market and kind of adapted accordingly? I kind of open it up because it's a bit of a curveball question that I haven't given you before. Who would like Rebekah?
I think as you start posting, it becomes easier to think about topics and things that you want to post. And you can also, I am guided a bit by the things people react to. You know, if you post something and you get a strong reaction or lots of people comment and engage with you, I think that kind of helps you generate some more ideas about other things that people might be interested in.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think for me, so I've only officially been a legal ops specialist for a little under a year, so I find it a lot easier to post about more of the DEI work that I do, so sort of events that we're doing in the Simmons office or sort of conferences, events and things that we've attended. And so for me, it does help when there's already something going on. So whether it's Neurodiversity Celebration Week or Mental Health Awareness Week, and like I don't want to just jump on the bandwagon, but I feel it is easier to post about things that other people are as well. But then similarly, I think it's really important in that space to be showing we're doing things outside of the celebration days as well. So for me, I find a picture works a lot better than just a text post. So I always have to try and remember to take pictures of things when we're doing stuff, because a lot of my legal ops day-to-day work, there's no pictures. It'd be a slightly less engaging post, in my opinion. So it's about kind of remembering to sort of give yourself the content in a way to kind of be ready for when you do want to post about something. And I think I definitely have gotten more confident at posting over the last couple of years because I've been doing stuff I'm really excited about. And I'm just like, well, I'm just going to share. And if it flops, I don't really care. I just think it's really cool. People should know. So kind of getting over that fear of kind of it not being a very like viral post, and that's fine, so I don't really want to be that famous anyway. So I'm happy things haven't gone viral. I'm not on the news.
I think with that, you're right. I think the subject matter is more important than the
Engagement.
personal gain, I suppose, that comes around it, right? I think I remember doing stuff about social mobility back in the day. Yeah, RBC for a similar reason.
Yeah.
And Marco?
I resonate a lot with Laura, and in some different ways also, I think it depends on your own goals, because let's say the social media or the digital presence, it's a medium. It depends how you use it, right? So if it's right for you to don't spam people, but if it's right to you to being consistent and insisting on a strong, I don't know, marketing message for your own employer, do it. If yours, it's more about your own personal sharing and looking for like a healthy discussion and confronting your own opinions, do it. What counts based on the goal is that let's say the return for your own self to feel grateful and happy about the experience. It needs to be aligned with the scope you're looking for. Let me make it simple. So if you are looking for as a target or multiple targets to get more exposure to sell a product, for example, if you're a founder, do it, but don't expect everyone to be, let's say, super aligned or happy with what you're selling, because the market is a complicated place. So don't get discouraged or hyped based on the responses. And same goes instead for personal messages or personal values where you're very dear to you, anyone, from well-being onwards. Same, you're doing something for good for yourself and for others. So you might see some great engagement in case it happens, but don't be discouraged in case it doesn't happen, because some people really care about the same topic you are sharing, but they don't want to engage directly because they feel it's a personal matter. So the goal shouldn't be just be measured. Sorry. The results, don't measure your results based on the engagement levels. There's much more that you don't see immediately. Potentially, you might see the results in the offline world. Thank God there is one still, and more. So
that makes sense. I guess if I give one last question, hopefully an easiest question, which is, what tip or takeaway or lesson learned have you would you want to share to others looking to have a digital presence? I guess I'd start with Rebekah this time.
My biggest tip would be see what's available for you from your employer. I got a training. Our comms and marketing team ran a really good training, and that's finally what gave me the confidence and the push to start. And as part of my work, we're working with them regularly, so it's pretty easy to have a quick chat with them about whether they've got any hints or tips. And we've got a bunch of resources. I didn't just have training, we've got all kinds of banners and things. So have a look, see what's available at work. And the second thing I would say is join us. It's so welcoming. It's so friendly. Please come join us. Everyone here is waiting for you.
Laura?
I don't know if I can top that. No, I think people with people, and generally we're not that scary. And I think for me, so moving from London to Bristol, I didn't know a lot of people in Bristol, whether socially or professionally. So getting to know people online and then going to conferences and events and being like, oh, I know you, I've spoken to you. So I think my advice would be take the opportunities just to make friends, because then when you go to an event, if you're fortunate enough to go, you have someone to talk to for coffee and it's not awkward. But also just don't be too hard on yourself. Like this is just another form of communication, and if a digital presence isn't for you, fine, there's plenty of other ways to build relationships. We still actually interact as human beings off screens, which is great, but I have found that for me personally, getting to know people a little bit through LinkedIn or things like that has made the in-person events more fun, because then you go and you recognize people. And I think, Marc, as you mentioned as well, you have a little bit of that frame of reference to mention, like, oh, I saw you went to such and such, or you posted about whatever. And it just kind of helps break that ice a bit if you're finding in-person events maybe a little bit intimidating. And the other tip I would say, definitely go to Legal Tech in the Southwest, best event in Bristol. Love it. Very much looking forward to being involved with the Theories in a row. I will plug it so you guys don't have to, but genuinely great chance to get to know each other, great chance to kind of discuss some ideas, and this was a relationship that was built online that turned into in-person friendships. So yes, come to Bristol and come do some cool stuff in October. That would be my tip.
100%.
You didn't pay me to say that.
And Marco, to round us up.
Yeah, just as a final wrap up, I think any digital presence in any form is the best possible way, at least the way I see it, to break the ice and make the real life connection easier, because that's at least that's my end goal. So my end goal with the digital is not being there in digital, not at least for me, but as much as possible to, okay, I make my chances easier to meet the people I want to meet in real life. If geography is an issue, you gotta set the limits. But hey, I've seen things. I'm now friends or close colleagues with people from the other side of the world after years, and we found a way to meet each other. So at least that's my best tips or recommendations. So try your best to consider the digital presence as an extension of what happens next. So your potential real life meeting, if you are interested, of course.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And in I guess in summary, in rounding up, I think that that digital presence really is a personal choice. You if you're working in legal ops, naturally you are going to be communicating with people internally, and you will be communicating with them about your skills and your expertise and why they should trust you, why you're credible, why your project should go ahead, I suppose. Whereas I suppose externally, things are quite different. The audiences could be much bigger, much more diverse, whether it be people that you want to be seen to be an expert to, your peers, or people within a particular area that you want to connect with or network with. So it requires probably a little bit more tailoring, I'd say, around what you say and who you're directing your content towards. But I'd like to think personally that it's positive, that there are, provided you don't go rogue with your posting and maybe go too personal or I don't know, too confrontational. There are clearly a lot of benefits when it comes to having a digital presence. I feel like it's opened doors for me personally over the years. And I think even within the people that are in this webinar at the moment, I think I wouldn't have been able to could connect with them without having some kind of digital presence over time. So I would see it as a positive for those that aren't doing it at the moment. I would definitely jump into it, do it consistently, even if it is maybe once a fortnight or once a month, and get your name and brand out there. But like a lot of the panel said, it needs to be authentic and genuine. You need to put yourself across, and I think a lot of the time it tends to be people's passions that come through in how they write and what they write. So yeah, go for it, I'd say. Write about your passions, connect with people, and I suppose enjoy yourself. And on that note, I will wrap up the session. I thank the panel, Laura, Rebekah, Marco. I hope everybody that joined the webinar enjoyed it. And for those that watch this a little bit later, I hope you enjoy it too. And watch out for the next one, which will be in September. Thanks a lot, everybody.
Thanks for having us,
and have a
Marc.
good rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Okay.
Bye.